Well, we've had single regeneration budget money for 6 or 7 years. We've also had European funding, the ERDF Objective 2. And that's enabled us to do an awful lot of work. For example, that's how we got all the funding for the CIU. And unfortunately, this will come to an end. So in March 2007, that source of funding ends. And it's not just us, but projects like us, all sorts of projects all over the country, are all struggling. There isn't another source of funding that will replace it. So at the moment, we're looking for all sorts of funding to continue most of the work of the CIU. And our green environment team and the community banking partnership. So we've got a lot of projects that we believe should just continue, and obviously modified by what we've learned over the last 5 or 6 years.
The Community Regeneration Unit was set up in 2002, European funded and SRB, single regeneration. And unlike other basic community development work, the whole team would go in to target specific areas. The 4 main areas of work that we do are older people, work with them, asylum seekers and refugees, community groups, and we do economic development. We help people set up social enterprises. Over the past 4 years, one of the things that we've really excelled at is reaching or communicating with hard to reach groups, the BME communities, etc. We've done a lot with the different ethnic groups. We've held annual multicultural five-a-side tournaments. We have supported various community groups in celebrating their cultural events like the Bengalis, African, the Malay, Nepalese, to name but a few. We have helped quite a few social enterprises. We've actually funded ourselves out of our budget for start-up, the local community radio station. If anybody does come along as far as wanting assistance in setting up a social enterprise, a business, then we'd go through everything with them, and also we would pay for, if they needed, some basic training around business setup, accounts, VAT, marketing, all those sorts of things. We've enjoyed the work that we've done and working with the community groups. It's been very, very rewarding, and to see businesses as well, social enterprises that we've helped that have now become quite self-sufficient, really, that have really taken off. The funding actually finishes at the end of March this year, 2007. This was set up as a 4-year pilot project, and it's always made quite clear on any of these funded projects that there won't be continuous funding, that it is a pilot. If it's successful, when you do your evaluation and everything, that you could possibly use that to source future funding. But if funding is found, obviously we're looking at other streams of funding, but the project, it won't be the Community Regeneration Unit. Right. It will be totally different, and it's sad really, because especially for the work with the asylum seekers and refugees, there is such a need.
We very much, did appreciate the support from that relationship we created as a community groups with the staff of Community Regeneration Unit, especially Mandy and Claire. They have been really very supportive. It's not, sometimes it wasn't about their role at Helsing Trust, but also it was more with that kind of awareness and the commitment they have. They have used the professionalism, also a commitment toward achieving and making change in Hastings. So, they have been very invaluable to the job we are doing, and it's not only we call them even outside our working hours, because when we need their advice. The project was under, actually I should have mentioned, the organization we created at that time is called the Kivu Peace Initiative, which is now grown up really. We've been running different projects. But the first project we had was to provide information advice to refugees and asylum seekers and newcomers. And that was our way of social integration. We thought really big organization, they create big ideas of what they call social integration, but we thought let's start from our own experience. What did we, what kind of barriers did we face?
My name is Rene Tolno. I come from Guinea. I've been living in this country for 6 years, and I am part of United African Community here in Hastings. CIU play a big role in setting up our organization, because before we didn't have any organization here, and once we meet them, they help us to create the organization, and with the constitution as well, funding, and taking part in different training in Hastings. For example, the interpreting courses, which many Africans took part to get level 3, because African people here, they speak more than one languages, so which is useful for other people who just come to this country, they can't speak the language, so we help them to interpret for them. Yeah, CRU, the Community Regeneration Unit, help us with, because we have social event every year. It can be cooking, and we have as well Africa Day, we celebrate every year in May. That's the football tournament and the cultural activity as well, and they help us every year to organize that. And I think the community cohesion, it is as simple as that. It is really important to us, and as well feeling end of isolation, because people come here, they find themselves isolated in this country. Once they are together, with the help of organizations like a Community Regeneration Unit, we get together, the cohesion, being part of a black minority ethnic here in Hastings is wonderful. To be honest, I can just say everything they have done for us, their help, has been very, very valuable to us. And we couldn't do it. We couldn't have done it without Community Regeneration Unit. That's true. And then I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of them, to thank Christine, Mandy, Claire, Rhonda, William, all extinctors for their help, and I wish them all the best.
Melo Melo was formed in February 2005, well, on the initiative of Hastings Trust, but mainly formed by us. I would say us because I was not the only one, who were many in the beginning. It was like a drop-in at the WRBS, and we used to cook some nice African food and share it with people. Yeah, it was really nice, convivial. I mean, yeah, we liked it. And from there, one day, it was like when we went in the first moment, we used to play African music, not ourselves, but listening to African music, and some people were trying to dance and the idea came, what about if we try to do something ourselves? And then the first drums came by someone who wanted to help, and we got the first drums. It was not ours, we just borrowed them, and we started, and gave something very nice. And we said, why not form a group, an African drumming group? And that's why they say it starts with us, many African, but later on it became a community band. That means even English people joined in and became a community band.
I'm Georgiana de Lucy. I'm Vice President of the Hastings and Rother Credit Union. We have been supported in many ways by the Community Regeneration Unit. ever since I've been part of the credit union, and before that, probably 4, 5 or 6 years, because I came to Hastings 4 years ago. They've enabled us to obtain grants, they've given us support, they've been absolutely fantastic, and the human relationships have been exceptionally good, and we'll be very, very sad for many reasons. They obtained a big grant for us before my time, which gave us a lot of flexibility for over 3-4 years. And then they helped us obtain smaller grants, so they helped me prepare the bids, corrected them for us, for endless patience while we got them right. And they've just always been around to help and give advice. I think the CRU will be incredibly missed in Hastings, and I think that Hastings and Rother, they cover that area too, as far as I know. The Hastings Trust does, it's a Hastings and Rother Trust. I think it needs funding and the same high quality of staff.
Hastings Trust has been a very rewarding experience for me. Since I've been in Hastings, I have trusted and entrusted myself and the work that I do with Hastings Trust. And I have Rhonda and Claire, and they have been very beneficial in assisting Life Conversations and the radio station. And Mandy Martin of Exquisite and Christine have been really, really great. So I want to take this moment to thank Hastings Trust and all of the trustees.
Life Conversations Radio. Be the change you want to see.
Life Conversations Radio started off as, I think, an idea of, because the work we do is personal development, helping people to be their best in whatever area of their lives, and we do it through arts, we do it through workshops, drama. Mandy Martin at Hastings Trust, and she just got excited, and she said this is something that they really would like to support, and basically to meet and talk about it. And when we shared with Mandy, she was just overjoyed. She was like, yes, let's talk about it. This sounds good. This way. And we had several meetings. We talked about what we wanted to do. They even assisted us in how we could make it better. And basically from there, we had the business plan. We put the business plan together, talked and just detailed several meetings going back and forth. Very helpful in putting us in contact with different people. I'm just trusting that they actually get funding to be around, because, and I say this honestly, not just because it's on camera, one of the things that I found in dealing with Hastings Trust is they're very personal. You don't actually feel intimidated. You feel like you're meeting with a friend who they look an idea and they think, we're not quite sure if it's going to work, well, this has been done, or they will tell you, this can work. And we don't feel intimidated talking with them.
Hello, I'm Rachel Lewis from Sound Architect, and really pleased to have this opportunity to thank the Community Regeneration Unit of Hastings Trust. We've been going 5 years now, but 4 years ago we were a very small, not-for-profit community group, and there were only 3 of us. With the help of the CRU unit, we have now registered as a charity. There are 11 of us, and we've done over 800 music and film sessions with young people. We're all convinced we wouldn't have done this or got this far this quickly without the help of particularly Claire and Mandy from the Hastings Trust. So a big thank you to the CRU unit from Sound Architect. Thanks guys.
They have great, in one word, they have great people skills, you know. So, which is, you know, very helpful, and I think they definitely made a difference, especially when it came to organizing events. They made a difference because people seem to remember, for example, the football tournament. They seem to remember that it was a good time, so, and they couldn't wait to do the next year one. So I mean, they wanted to. If it was the people, they would have done it every week, the same thing. Which is the teamwork is excellent, I have to say, and you know, I'm sure they made a lot of difference in people, you know, in people in their businesses as well. So without the CRU, I think they're gonna struggle a bit. But you know, CRU definitely made a difference to a lot of people. I think with loans and like I said, you know, without the CRU, people are gonna start struggling. You know, because maybe not a lot, but part of the business is gonna start struggling because they won't have funds anymore. And yeah.
We wanted to celebrate one of our events for Hastings Iranian community. That's how I got in touch with Claire and asked her to help me to write proposal and everything. And she helped me actually to how to write proposal for asking for money and funding and everything, because it was first time for me. I know I used to work as a volunteer for DRI, Diversity Resource International, and their office used to be exactly at the same building. So that's how I met Mandy, and I was so happy when I met her because I've heard a lot about Mandy. That's why when I met her, I thought, oh my God, Mandy Martin. Once Mandy, she invited our community to have a football tournament with the other community groups. It was a multicultural tournament, and although it was a very short notice, but I think that was one of the fantastic events in Hastings. Although I'm so new at Hastings, but it was something so memorable for us. You know, different cultures with different background, they all played together, and you know, we as family, we all gathered and we had a picnic. Although they were playing football, but we had our picnic. It was so good. For example, all the time when I had this conversation with Mandy or with Claire, they say, Shiva, whenever you have problem, you know we are here. And you know, it gives me comfort, and you think, oh, there's somebody who cares about you, not because you are a part of Hastings Iranian community, as a human being, you know.
My name is Chirodeb. I represent Hastings Bengali Forum. I would like to thank Hastings Trust, particularly Mandy, Christine, and Claire for their continuous support. Without their support, the Bengali Forum's organization would have a struggle. So I'd like to thanks again. It would be a great loss if the CRU has to go.
Hastings Trust have been really helpful for us. They've been there. I mean, we've sort of planned the logistics of it all. Of, you know, do we start up the company properly? We've done market testing. We found that people are interested in the products. You know, Hastings Trust were really helpful in just sort of guiding us, giving us information, directing us to people who give us advice. Because we were sort of planning to set up as a social enterprise. And that's all happening. And of course, Hastings Trust have done social enterprises, helped set those up. So they've given us, you know, loads of advice regarding that. And since then, we've set up as a limited company. Just through ourselves, we had our own steam. They were there in the early stages when we were realising that, okay, you know, we've been playing around with these structures. You know, we've played around with the finances of it and the budget, and we've looked at it. You know, we needed someone to talk to give us advice on feasibility, what are the next stages, how do you set it up, you know, when it comes to premises, what things should you look for, helping us to find sites that we could use, sites where we could use the material on site, which was Copper's material for the workshops, and then helping us plan to let people know that we're doing it, you know, and manage it.
So whereas we started as a building, essentially a building regeneration group, Brief is now much wider, and we have a whole range of projects ranging from financial loan schemes to training schemes. There's a new construction industry training project which we're just starting, which is very exciting. And the project is to buy buildings for which we have received grants, to use them as training sites for apprentices to learn their trades, to sell the buildings on to approved landlords so that they then become affordable housing for people. Well, what it does is to address the problem about giving people the qualifications and then them not having the experience that employers want. Employers want people with qualifications and experience, and this is what they get. It addresses a perceived need in the construction industry for apprenticeships and proper training. There's a shortage of trained, skilled craftsmen. Culture is changing from a grant-aided culture to a self-financing culture. That sounds very general, but it basically means that some of the big grant programs have come to an end or are coming to an end, and that organisations like the Trust, which are development trusts, and this is happening across the country, are having to find innovative ways of raising their own finance.
The Hastings Trust is a very respected local organisation which I as the MP are delighted to be able to be involved with, because it's an organisation which not just attracts funding to the town in all sorts of ways, but really engages with the community. And it's really when it's bottom up, when the community says what's needed and that's responded to, that makes a difference to a place like Hastings. Well, of course, since I was elected in 1997, they've been here, but they were here before then. And the big difference, I suppose, in recent years has been the availability of the funding that's come through various government sources. But they're very innovative in the way that they do that, whether it be for funding to help, as the recent scheme of offering loans to people with difficult financial situations, or training needs, or whatever. It's very much an organisation which I feel fills the gaps. Statutory bodies do a great job in all sorts of ways, but the Community Trust, which is Hastings Trust, is able to fill those gaps where other statutory bodies may not go. Indeed, they go places where other people don't go. Well, I hope the future is bright, because certainly funding is becoming more difficult. Everyone knows that. The big funding opportunities may not be drying up, but certainly slowing down. And that's why we need to be looking through groups like the Hastings Trust at recycling the sorts of funds that come into our community, and to ensure that there's money left after schemes so that they can be used again. Indeed, the schemes that we're looking at the moment about recycling money is one of those things. That's not the same as laundering money, by the way. It's something different. But what it is here, it's actually loaning money to people who will be able to repay, and then that money can be loaned again. And it's that sort of recycling is a buzzword these days, and it also applies to cash as well as to cardboard boxes.
The Christmas bash is the one Christmas bash that I never miss. Hastings Trust. I get invited to quite a few. Hastings Trust is a must, as I would say.
I've been with the Trust since 2002 when the CRU started. It started in September 2002, and Mandy and I were two of the original members. Okay.
It was a 4-year pilot project, and whilst we say pilot, you would think that if there was a pilot, that if something was successful, that there would be funding available at the end of it, but that's not the case, unfortunately.